welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on climate leadership. We are organizing different kind of dialogue, and beside that, we organizing like community capacity building programs. And leadership development is one of our initiative. We are working with North American university like Stanford's, like St. Edwards, and hopefully through this dialogue we can learn very interesting things. And in the future we can use this podcast as a case study, as our educational materials. So we have our world famous speaker, Dr. Tamanna, Professor Jyotirmoy, both of them from India. We have Professor Dev from USA, and I'm Sharif. Right now, I am in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So first, as a subject matter expert, first I would like to give chance Professor Dev. Uh, and my first questions to you: how can climate leaders balance economic growth with achieving ambitious sustainability goals? And what is your objective with your project?
Well, I'm afraid that if we're going to be sustainable, that growth is going to have to be tempered. In other words, what is driving growth is demand for goods and services, demand for a higher standard of living. And that means that the more people want stuff, the more stuff gets made, gets shipped, and gets distributed around the world. And unfortunately, that's the driver of climate change. 72% of the carbon in the atmosphere comes from households. Not that households are burning fossil fuel, but because households are demanding products and services, and those products and services need to get made, need to get shipped, they need to get distributed, and they need to get used. And as a consequence, we have an economy in the world that's out of control. And the only way we're going to get it back into control is to reduce our carbon footprint. And collectively, our carbon footprint is driven by people's ambition to be rich. We have to temper that ambition, unfortunately. So our program works in elementary schools and middle schools, getting the kids to understand what the problem is. And then the kids can help mitigate the problem. We work with families, but we start with kids.
Thank you. Professor Jyotirmoy, I had my next question for you because you are working with many international organizations, and especially you are trying to develop a sustainable ecosystem in India. So what role do international organizations and agreement like Paris Agreement play in enabling effective climate leadership? What do you think?
My thoughts are something similar to Dr. Dave's vision, as he wants to involve the kids. I also want this type of alignment with the education system as a whole. And I got this message from someone. He is no other than Rabindranath Tagore, who was exploring what kind of Indian cultural center of culture could be. And that time we were having colonial education system, and he was very much for independence of individual and also for the country. But he was not busy with fighting against the Britishers, though he himself stood against them so boldly sometimes when there was a massacre in Jallianwala Bagh. None was that much bold enough. But Tagore, only one person from India raised his, maybe other two, not that much. Mahatma Gandhi was silent that time. C.R. Das was silent. Anyway, my view is that with the education system, we can do something. And Tagore got the message from Indian age-old education system, where there was no wall, open wall education system, which embraced the whole society and the nature as a whole. So no bar was there. And this India was one kind of country for thousands of years. It was the richest country of the world. And they had one kind of education system. And there was, as I know, Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya is there, Nalanda University is there, which was governed by, or governed I should not say, which was nourished by 250 villages around. So it was having one kind of giving and receiving relationship with the surrounding villages or surrounding neighborhoods. So this type of open world system where the whole society would be guided. Now we are having party and administration to do something good for the whole society. But the education system is totally away from it, in our country at least. They do not have any responsibility. They do not have nothing to do with. Sometimes the higher education universities are giving some suggestions, but in doing something, we know our hilly areas are bereft of 65% land is vacant still. Neither it is grabbed by the Chinese or by the Pakistanis, but our consciousness cannot reach there. So how to reach there? And we are having 57% farmland, but we can't make the agroforestry. Maybe 20 to 25% agroforestry is the answer of the day. Food forest is the answer of the day, but we can't do it. And we still have, in spite of being the most populous country in the world, we are having 27% land in the plains are also vacant. We can, at least 1/3 of them can be filled by food forest, but we can't do it. And we are having a very good complementarity with the dairy system, animal husbandry and agriculture. It is not conflicting. Throughout the ages in India, it was not conflicting. Very much conducive, very much contributory. So in this, we can think something. I don't want to put like this that India was the most knowledgeable country and it has everything. It had everything. So we have to borrow from it. No, we have to take it with adequate questions, and we can select a little bit of it, and then we can go with it. Now I am with one university, establishing one university in the hilly area where Tagore himself wanted to, Rabindranath Tagore, I think everyone does not know that much. He was at one time, he was one of the most famous person in the world. But this time, due to some reason, he is a little bit recited. I don't know why. Anyway, but in the name of Tagore, we are going to make one university, just not repeating one, copying the first one, a second Shantiniketan, or it can be done everywhere where there will be no wall. The one thing should be there, how to make that area, that community free from unemployment. while addressing other major issues of our time, that is, crisis in environment, crisis in agriculture, food security. So there should be one motto, and what kind of education is needed for that only we can take one by one gradually. We are now putting the car before the horse. So far we have been doing it. That is why, that's for that reason, most of the Indian universities have become a production of unemployed youth. So we have to reverse it now, make it reversed. How the education system can make a community free from unemployment while addressing other major issues of our time. So this is also associated with education system, with kids, with society as a whole. So this is my, so far I can say initially.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jyotirmoy. Thank you. We have our world-famous professor. He's the president of TANDO, and I already mentioned that TANDO organizing climate leadership certifications programs. And Professor Jyotirmoy also is developing university based on the concept of Rabindranath Tagore. You know that Rabindranath Tagore win Nobel Prize from South Asia. So he has a very interesting activities in South Asia. Maybe it will be valuable for us to collaborate with Tando and the universities, what you are discussing from India. So Professor Fred, what you want to discuss about climate leaderships, how your program actually address the disparities between developed and developing nations in combining the climate change. What you want to share?
Thank you, Sharif. Sorry to be late, but to join you late, but StreamYard made it extremely difficult to log on the smartphone. I'm away from my desk. We speak of climate leadership. Our focus at Tando has been less about leadership per se. One moment, please. And more about change agency. We need change agents that can work within their own personality to be the kind of personality who can effect change within organizations, within communities, and at national political levels. Now, we're not talking about developing people who are experts in all climate technologies, but they do need to be comfortable with technology and able to identify the key points about different climate-related technologies that are the key points for being able to be familiar with price performance curves, be persuasive about getting organizations and governments to investigate the adoption of certain technologies and not pay attention to more dead-end climate technologies. So we want to create 1,000 change agents in the next 5 years around the world to work in corporations, in NGOs, in government agencies. And we're aiming this at young college graduates or people who are about to graduate from university. And we want to familiarize them with the key issues that we have seen on the leadership side. And these are, for example, getting organizational leaders past the stage of denial about climate change, getting them to understand resilience, what resilience means and how to build resilience in a company, in an agency, in a community, in a neighborhood of a larger city. So that denial, resilience, we need them to be able to fight against corporate greenwashing. And actually, when we think about employment for the graduates of this program, some of the jobs available will be at high-level positions, but at the lowest level, companies need and governments need people who can ensure compliance, compliance with government regulations, but also in corporations, ensure compliance with the corporation's own declared green goals. Okay, so what are the skills that graduates, that change agents need? They need critical thinking. They need systems thinking. Critical thinking because so many attitudes about climate are belief-based rather than evidence-based. And system thinking because there are so many things wrapped up in the climate picture. Pandemics, politics, migration. All these things are so interrelated that one cannot deal with one without understanding the links to the others. Okay? So the Tondo Institute is launching this climate leadership certificate.
Yes.
Are we there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Critical thinking and decision making, system, personal and community resilience, topics in climate science and technology.
Sorry, I think he has internet issues.
Then we'll add one elective for analytic skills, environmental law and ethics, another for business, another for politics, another for urban planning. And the certificate will wind up with a capstone project where the participants can integrate what they've learned from the different modules. Okay, I'm in a room that has motion sensor lighting, and I'm going to have to leave my chair again to wave my arms and get the lights on. But that is.
I'm sorry.
We're all victims of technology.
Linking with similarly minded. Sharif, can you put me on?
Yes, you are on.
I'm backstage.
No,
My phone says I'm
you are.
backstage and not on.
No, you are with us.
All right. Well, in any rate, to wind up, we're quite excited about starting in South Asia, thanks to Dr. Sharif's assistance, and then moving on to create 1,000 such change agents worldwide in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Fred, for your excellent initiative. Definitely, we are actually sharing your initiative with university grant commissions, with different universities, as well as different corporations, NGOs, government agency. Hopefully, it will be a very successful initiative around the world. Dr. Tamanna, what you want to discuss about the collaborations between government, private sectors, and academia to drive this climate initiative?
Dr. Sharif, actually, what I personally feel is that it's the environment itself is, it's at a ward level, which we have to look at the whole concept. It's not just it's a big thing. It's just not a NGO topic or something, the way NGOs look at it. It has to have a major academic interference. Till the time that doesn't happen, just NGO or governments would not be able to do anything. The critical thinking aspect is extremely important. Till the time that doesn't happen, we will lose this battle. I mean, we really need to have the whole structure of our contemporary civilization, like it won't exist anywhere if we do not concentrate right now on environment. So every decade we are seeing that, I mean, when we were much younger, the environment was much better. But now if you see in Delhi, you come here, and Professor would also know that, in Delhi it's like amazing problems which we face as far as pollution is concerned. So, I mean, many of the North Indian states face that problem. So, I guess till the time we do not understand that, academia as well as government have to join hands. They have to come together, so that, any uh, any issue which needs in depth study should be taken up by academia. So I guess that's the best possible solution, because, and I mean, I've always said that philosophy should be included in academia as far as, environment is concerned. So the whole philosophy behind, I mean, as far as culture is concerned, every culture has, Sir also talked about Rabindranath Tagore. So in India, we had scholars who from way back, they were talking about these issues. I mean, we have in our Upanishads, for example, we have spoken in Vedas, we have spoken about um, uh, environment. So I guess every culture needs to come together now, be it from Pakistan, Bangladesh. We are anyways very connected. So I mean, I don't need to say that, but we have a lot of scholars who are working right now on it, and they should come together and then have NGOs to interfere in the whole structure. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Professor Dev, my questions for you. What are the most critical technologies and innovation that climate leaders should prioritize for accelerating the green transition?
I think the most important technology that we have is the technology of education as as a whole, and instead we tend to compartmentalize into university, high school, elementary school. What we need is a new approach to moving kids and families, not just kids, but their parents as well, through a transition from where we are now to where we want to be. And right now, our education system in the United States, and I think in Europe, is geared toward maximizing technological output, which also maximizes the carbon footprint. So what we need to do may be different from what needs to be done in India, but I think it all starts at the elementary level. And that's why our program works not with 1,000, but with millions, maybe as many as 1 billion families. Because what we need to do is get into every family's mind the idea that they need to take responsibility for this problem. It's not something government is going to do. Change doesn't trickle down from the top. Change bubbles up from the bottom. That's true
Yes.
every time, everywhere. And so
Yes.
what we've got to do is get that change started and create bubbles of change at the household level that then go to the community level, that then go to the state and the world. And that's what we're doing with the Green Actioneers program. We have a book that we've written. I've cooperated with 60 undergraduate students at the University of Central Florida to create a book that's appropriate for the whole family. And it's already in English and Spanish, and it can very easily, thanks to AI, be in English and every other language. And the book doesn't need to be given out as a physical book. It can be given out as a digital download so that every family that has a computer basically has a book. And what's in the book is a description of a problem and how to solve it on every 2-page spread. So this one happens to be using natural cleansers. And it has a coloring book feature for the little kids. It has English and Spanish. It's got a game or puzzle based on the English above. And it's got a quote from somebody famous. So your elementary, your middle, your high school kid, and the parents can be involved in this. We also have a Where's Waldo feature. We've got these 2 little characters, can do and can't do, and they're somewhere in every drawing. So everybody wants to find can do and can't do. Now, this is just a seed. This is just a pebble in the pond, because what happens next is in every classroom, the kids get to put up a Post-it note, a sticky note, every time their family does anything that's in the book. So then the families get the book and they get to work. Well, this is a change of consciousness. This is transitioning entire families from let's become rich and get the most stuff that we can possibly get to let's be as balanced as we can be with our environment and with each other. Now, that starts us off at the bottom. It should have been done 25 years ago. I know this is too late. But if you planted a tree 25 years ago, you'd have fruit today. We can't do that. We have to plant our tree today. And so the tree that we're going to plant is every school, everywhere, is going to have a Green Actioneers program. It's like scouting, but scouting for the 21st century. And every family will then be able to participate because the kids are going to go, Mom, Susie has 11 up here and we only have 9. Let's get the book and get to work. And then families will take steps to reduce their carbon footprint, to reduce their dependence on the human-built environment and to return to the natural environment. That's our goal. And we're starting in the US because that's where I live, but it's going to go everywhere because it's needed. Until we change elementary and middle school and high school education, we can't change people's minds. I tried to do this with university students, and I could only get 0.1% of the university students involved because they're already thinking about their career in science and engineering and math. Great. I'm glad to hear that. But somebody has got to watch the store. Somebody has got to do the hard job, which is getting us all to sustainability as individuals and as families, and to lower our ambition for stuff. So that's what our book does. And our book does not mention climate change, global warming, or sea level rise, because those are political issues. Instead, it talks about going green and having a clean green future, saving energy, saving water, saving money, and having a future that will work for everybody forever. So that's our goal. We figure that it's a lot better to start now at the bottom and work our way up. We've done a lot at the top. We've had 29 COPs, COP 29, and hundreds of thousands of people have flown to Azerbaijan and other places to talk about climate change. But what really has to happen now is, yes, that can continue, but we must go to the bottom level and start working with families.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Professor Jyotirmoy, as you are policymakers and you are contributing for uplifting your communities. So my question for you, how can climate leaders ensure that vulnerable and migrationalized communities are included in decision making process? How the decision maker bring these communities in their process?
I just want to start with some giving and receiving situation where each and everyone can a little bit contribute and also can get something from there. We have plenty of fallow lands along the wayside, along the riverside, along the railway side. So everywhere there is fallow land. And for thousands of years, there used to be fruit trees. But nowadays, with the arrival of our indigenous, I should say, the leadership, the country has got independent now. The national leaders have done something which the foreigners could not do. Now everywhere we can see only fuel trees. They are utilized for fuel only, or for little bit wood purpose. So problem is that we can grow food forest there, and we can have something. Each and every person can get something from there. Huge land is there. And by starting that, each and every one, we can get something at the grassroots level, at the bottom, society, community, where maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people are there. We can start with them, with the education system. I am talking about university, but it is from class 1 or maybe KG to PG. Later on it will be PG. But first we want to take up the issue of making a community free from unemployment. Maybe that no one will get any service, any employment, but everyone can get some work to do. In India, before the arrival of the British, in our communities, there were mostly no one was having any employment, but everyone was having some sort of work to do. And thereby they became the richest people and sustained it for thousands of years. So some bottom-up approach, decentralized system of society was very much time-tested. But today, as there was a massive pilferage from India, and India is now a little bit poor country. So people started thinking that their message is not that much listen-worthy. So I think, as Professor or Dr. Dev was saying, I am very much of the same opinion with him. I may add something there. We can add one thing, as we have a book bank in a library in the school, college, university. We can have a seed library. We can to start with dancing and singing with seeds. So the one can connect us with our ancestors, ancestral wisdom. But the second thing can connect us with the coming generations. So these two can be there. We are having two aspects. One is the ancestral, and other is the future generations. But we are now on this side all the time one-sided. There should be a balance too. So seed bank or seed library should be there, and we should know from year 5 how to dance and sing with that seeds. So, and whatever you were telling, Dr. Dave, it is something related to that. I should say, complement each other. You have done a massive work by writing books, but I am also writing books, but it is something from a different point. You are very much focused, and I am also. Yes, there is much similarity. Yet there is much similarity. So this is my answer right now.
Thank you. Dr. Tamanna, you are a lawyer. So, my question for you, what strategies can leaders adopt to mobilize grassroots movement and engage with climate actions? Can you unmute, please? Tamanna, can you unmute, please?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr.
So
Tamanna.
climate leadership will require challenging decisions to be made, but leaders can also grasp the amazing opportunities that the clean energy transition will bring. New economic opportunities. I mean, people should, um, the government, for example, in India, through different methods, has been trying to involve. When we are teaching in colleges, for example, we have our festivals for environment, whereby students clean, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which is called, which means clean India. So, so students are supposed to clean their own colleges, etc. And, that's what encourages them to do so. And the way Professor Dave spoke about the book, very interesting. But actually, I mean, before him also, people, there were thinkers like Derrida, etc., who were very difficult to understand. So people have written books whereby they are done through cartoons, because some of them, the concepts are so difficult that they can't be understood. So they are made into small, for example, cartoons, etc., of the thinker, of the concept, etc., so that, students are at in the graduate level, because Derrida is a very difficult thinker to understand. So it's only through method of cartoons and, drawings and caricaturing things, that, these things can be understood. So I got your point, actually, Professor Dave. And I guess the government needs to work with academia majorly. I mean, Professor Dave would be able to, and Professor Jyotirmoy, both of them would be wonderful as far as, the climate, the movement is concerned. So we need to come together. There's nobody like, I'm doing it. It's our own work. We all have to come in and put in the effort. So I mean, yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a very good
Yeah.
point. Let me go a little bit farther with that point, if that's okay. And that is that our book does use cartoons. For instance, this
Yes.
is the end of the book. And in the end of the book, we discovered that the Native Americans didn't have this problem. And the reason was because they knew how to live in balance. And if we had just listened 500 years ago, when we came to this continent from Europe, to the Native Americans who had been here for tens of thousands of years, then we wouldn't have the problem we have today. So our book concludes with the idea that we need to go back to the Native American thinking, which was to live in balance with nature. And that when we do go back to the Native American way of thinking, then it'll impact the entire world, because the world needs to get back to the point that we were at a millennium ago, where we were all trying to live in balance, and we didn't have these luxurious ways of getting out of balance. So our goal with the book is to get it into the hands of every family with kids in the world. Now, that's a big goal. And it's going to require not just work here in the United States, but other countries as well. So we're going to use the tools that are now available, including AI, to translate the book into many languages, to make it available as a digital download to every family everywhere at no cost. But in order to get the book, you have to go to family night at school. And at family night, the families sit down with the book and go through it and decide on the things that they can do. And we gamify family night so that it's lots of fun. So the kids get to choose the thing that it is that they can do. And then they raise their hand, and the person on stage, we call that person Professor Green, says, okay, Timmy, what is it that you're going to do? And Timmy jumps up and says, we're going to eat less meat and more vegetables. Then all the kids who agree with that get to jump up and shout, we can do that too. Well, I've done this in a number of schools, and the kids love it. So then the next kid says, we're going to bring lunch from home. In other words, not eat the school lunch. We can do that too. The next kid says, we're going to install rooftop solar. Well, then a lot of the grown-ups start jumping up too. What we discovered was once we started talking about things that the grown-ups are interested in, like install rooftop solar or get an energy audit, the kids all jump up, but the grown-ups jump up too. Now we've got a committed population. We've got an entire school that's excited about something that they can do. And then we put the charts up on the wall, and the charts up on the wall are what drives the program. And then step by step, the whole community saves energy, saves water, saves money, and goes green. Now that has to happen first here in the US. We need to create this model, but then the model can be transferred very easily everywhere at no cost. And I think that's the most important point.
Sorry, Dr. Jyotirmoy, are you okay?
Yes.
Everything
yes.
okay?
Anyhow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My question for you: what government framework are most effective in driving accountability and transparency in climate-related initiatives? What do you think about that?
I can't say specifically. Few governments, governments, yes, state government and central governments are there, are very much congenial. Maybe with individual relationship, some sort of collaborations can crop up. Now, so far, I had a thought.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tamanna, if you want to contribute for this, the government framework, specifically for transparency and accountability. Dr. Tamanna.
Yeah, so government has been, for example, as far as India is concerned, the Indian government has majorly started this campaign, in schools, etc. And I mean, I'm sure what Professor Dave was saying, it would be very useful in Indian schools as well. In fact, in every countries, if the government is not doing something, then it should come from below the surface. People should understand that this is it's a very every home should have that feel that government is trying to do something, but till the time it does not come in our own blood, it's not going to garner any benefits. So what we really need to do is that the government and the students need to come together. I mean, it's happening, but at the pace with which the environment itself is degrading, we have to do it at a big level, at a mass level. We have to because developing world, what industrial revolution did centuries back, now we are facing that. So now, but now the countries can't we can't afford it. So what we really need to do is get our structures in place, and have right kind of people coming together, and no profits for anybody. It's our earth, you know it's not nothing. We are not going to earn anything, and if we don't do anything within 10-15 years, we'll have different kind of diseases which are going to crop up. So So I guess that's what we have to focus on. Why do we have many of these ailments which are like, which should not be there, but they are still there? That's because of the pollution. And we have to really work hard on this. And, we all need to come together, and no profits for anybody, nothing, no money is involved. It's what we need is, this is much needed. I mean, and when we are talking about, going to Mars, etc., it shouldn't be that, we go there and pollute that planet also. So I guess we need to be more cautious about it. Yeah.
Thank
May
you.
may I add
Yeah,
something here?
I like the idea.
Yeah.
If we can terraform Mars, we can certainly terraform Earth. And I think we should terraform Earth before we terraform Mars. And I don't think that Mars mission is going to take place because there's no reason to do it. There's no economic advantage to those wealthy people to go to Mars. Their biggest advantage is to stay here and help us all get sustainable so we don't destroy Earth. So I think there's too much publicity on Mars and not enough publicity on what families can do in order to solve the problem. If it doesn't start at the family and household level, it's not going to get done. And you can think of any program anytime except war, and it always starts at the bottom and works its way up. War starts at the top and works its way down. But everything else, all the positive stuff, has to come from households and villages and families, and then it changes. So the intrusion of Britain into India was the same as the intrusion of Europeans into North America. It took it to a different level of economics that was not sustainable. And what we need to do is go back to the level of economics that is sustainable. And that has to do with, for instance, in my community, they have very polished lawns at everybody's house. And it's required, there's a homeowners association that requires you to have a beautiful lawn. Well, we took our lawn out and we put in natural, native Florida fauna. Because we Florida flora, because we said we're not going to put pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and grass and artificial turf in front of our house. So they fined us $5,000 for taking out our lawn. And I told them, well, good, we'll go to court and I'll bring my book and I'll win and I'll sell a lot of books. So they dropped the fine. But that's the problem. Communities need to get on board. And the only way communities are going to get on board is if families get on board. And families have to then accumulate enough energy and power to overwhelm communities. And the communities need to overwhelm the national governments. And the national governments have to overwhelm the world's economic system to the point where we demand sustainability. And yes, there's a lot of other levels that have to be taken care of. I mean, some people are going to get arrested for protesting. That's great. Some people are going to work at the university level, teaching engineers how to be better to preserve what we've got. But at the basic level, it has to change at the elementary, middle school, and high school level, and then the culture will change. So that's my mission. And I'm 83 years old, so I'm not going to be here when this is over. But it's very important in your life to have a mission that you can put your heart into that goes far beyond your own lifespan. And that's where I am now.
Yeah.
Probably we could have people living for more than 150 years.
I got another 20 years of treadwear left in me.
Okay. Professor Jyotirmoy, yeah, what you want to add?
Yes, I was thinking about something, and being of the same opinion with Dr. Tamanna, I would like to add something. it will seem to be some completely opposite to her. That is, she was talking about no one will get any benefit, any income, any profit. But I should add here something. Each and every one can get something from here. Just not money, but some sort of things can get that. If we go on building food forest, maybe 25% of greenery can be increased by making food forest in India. And in most cases, that will be distributed to the community in a very three-share economy system by obeying or by giving the owner some due honor, that you are the owner of the land, so you should take one share. In that way, we can convert it as a love economy, not a profit-based economy. In that way, each and everyone can get something. We should not be that much adverse to having anything, any profit. This should be a spiritual profit and material profit, even not maybe monetary profit.
Right. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tamanna. What's your closing remarks for today's session?
Yes, I basically agree with all the panelists, and I mean, profits are generally not always monetary. They are like basically, there are other kind of profits which we can gain from these kind of movements. And I mean, probably we need to now focus more on elongating the longevity of people, and for that we need environmental movement, because without a movement in environment, our healths are not going to be better. And that problem is being faced in India every day. We are seeing people dying. So we have to focus on that, and that's the basic purpose of any proper government or any movement, that we have to, we had people, I mean, I was just reading something, it was around about Bible, who the person, I mean, that person was living for 900 years. That's because of the environment, and that environment is not here right now. So I guess we need to get ambitious with these kind of things. Rather than earning money, we should be focusing more on having right kind of health infrastructure within all the countries, so that even the poorest of poorest, the last man or woman, should not be adversely affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Dev, what's your closing remarks for today's session?
Well, if anybody is interested in helping elementary, middle, and high school kids and their parents to become sustainable, then please get in touch with Dave Finnegan at yahoo.com. And I'm happy to help you to get the book started and the program started in your school. The books are not the purpose of the program. Culture change is the purpose of the program. And cultures don't change from the top. Cultures change from the bottom. So we're going to create cultural change worldwide with Green Actioneers as a movement like Scouting, but this time, instead of having merit badges, in every classroom, you're going to have a chart on the wall. And where you only saw the merit badge once a week when you went to the Scout meeting, now you're going to see that every day in your classroom, and you and your parents will be able to go, wow, look at that. We've really done a great job. And pat ourselves on the back for doing a good job. And very few of these things cost money. Most of them are either free or require some personal effort. So that's the goal. And there will be food forests everywhere, because people would convert their front yard, as I have done, into a food forest. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Jyotirmoy, what's your closing remarks for today's session?
Yes, very good. I think today we have very good discussions, and some little bit difference were there, but everything is on the way to have a submerge, can converge. So anyway, if we, as Dr. Tamanna suggested, we can work together. How it can be? Yes, this book can be one starting point. We can take up the book itself and we can start distributing or utilizing it. Not distribution can do anything. Just we can start utilizing it, and also with our other things can be associated with it. We can go on modifying it, and addition and alterations can go on. Anyway, I think it is a very good starting, and we can continue to collaborate in this way. We can have a great result.
Yeah, let me add one more point. I really appreciate what you just said, and I appreciate what Dr. Tamanna said about the cartoons. We can take every 2-page spread of this book and make a 2-minute children's video that's an animated video telling the story of that particular problem.
Yes.
There's 100 problems in the book. There could be 100.
Have you already made it?
videos.
Have you already
No.
made it?
No,
Yes,
that's going to take a budget.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You know that World Talent Economic Forums, we have our research institutions, iLab, Innovation Lab. And from Innovation Lab, specifically, we focus on the agricultural sectors of South Asia. You know that if you focus on the agroeconomy, you can save your planet. So I think that especially Professor Jyotirmoy, Dr. Tamanna, you also can contribute. We are publishing this book. Also, Professor Dev, your book also valuable for our children, for our students. And definitely by this way, we can exchange our knowledge and we can grow our ecosystem. So that is the objective of our dialogue. So I request all of our audience, please share our content as much as possible with the government agency, corporation, and academia. And most importantly, we want to bring values to our ecosystem with modern science, engineering, and technology. So all of your contributions is valuable for us. And you know, Professor Dev, you are highly influential. Dr. Tamanna, you are also influential. Professor Jyotirmoy, you are also influential. So share our content in between your community. What they learn from this dialogue, please send it to us. How they can use this, because it's like open source mode, 100% free. So share our content, get the feedback, engage with the community, and change your community and share your views. That is the way we share our knowledge and we develop our community. That's all for today's sessions. Thank you, Professor Dev. Thank you, Dr. Tamanna. Thank you, Professor Jyotirmoy, for joining today's sessions. And thank you, Professor Fred Philip, for starting this climate leadership program. So soon we are starting this initiative. It can help the North American communities, also the South Asian communities. That is the way we can develop a bridge based on our knowledge and experience.
It's the world's community. We're all brothers and sisters. There's only
Thank
one.
you.
There's only one community.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your great words. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
Bye bye. Bye bye.